Yo, 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 welcome back to the No Cut Sports Podcast with your host, Niall Frazier. And today we got some things to talk about, but before we even get started, could you please like, comment, and subscribe to always catch this vibe, man. And also, the jersey giveaway will be this Friday. I will be making an announcement of the winner. Um, so stay tuned for that video. But if you would like to be entered into a win, just subscribe to the channel, man. That's all you got to do. I'll reach out to you. On my fault. I'll reach out to you, get your information, see what you want, and I'll get it to you. So, with that being said, let's get into the topics for today. We got a few things we need to talk about, but the main thing we need to talk about is Emmanuel Acho's comments on Jalen Hurts. The clip probably came out either yesterday or today. I can't be too sure. I know I did see it on YouTube today, so I guess y'all let me know in the comments, whatever the case is. But I just want to speak a little bit toward it because first off, it's my quarterback, so I gotta, I gotta. If it's anything to do with the Eagles, I gotta come on here and give it to you right. So my thing is this, and I'm gonna give you my real honest opinion. So, because I don't ever want to get on here and be one sided. You know what I mean? I do gotta keep it real. That's why I started this joint. So, with that being said, Emmanuel Acho had made some comments about Jalen Hurts, saying that he's good, but he's not a good enough quarterback to win us the Super Bowl. Right now, some of y'all may know. Like Shannon Sharp, I really like Shannon Sharp. So when Shannon Sharp was on FS1 before he made his transition to ESPN, I used to watch his show on there with a Skip, and then at 5 or 4, whatever time that show come on, speak. Excuse me. But I would watch Joy and Shady and all that. Cause Shady McCoy's on there, and then we were talking about the Eagles. And, he get in his bag a little bit. So I'm sitting there watching it. At least the clip on YouTube. Excuse me, yo. Clip on YouTube, and I'm listening to what Emmanuel was saying, and he's a very smart dude, don't get me wrong. Entitled to his opinion and all that, and I do apologize. I keep burping, but my thing, and like I said, it could just be for ratings and things like that, because I know how the media be trying to spend stuff to, you know what I'm saying? So, but long story short, he just said he ain't gonna ever win us a Super Bowl, which I can't agree with. This past year, and I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to make no excuses, like, because I say that Jalen Hurts has some things that he needs to work on. Like this past year, I felt like he bailed out of the pocket too fast. And that could be a combination of things, because my thing is I'm not behind there. A lot of stuff is happening as, for the quarterback, to the point where it's like, he got to make a lot of decisions in a short amount of time. Now, I'm not trying to, like I said, I'm not trying to create the excuse, but my thing is this: I felt as though he bailed out too many times. You know what I mean? And I understand, with the season, with the conditions of the season, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator being new, really not having experience. And I feel like that also is something that has plagued Jalen Hurts as well, and that he even had said at a press conference or a couple press conferences, I feel like the consistency with the coaching, it's always changing. Like the only time he really didn't have a change was his first year into the Super Bowl year. But then every year after that, he's then got, Brian Johnson last year, and now you're getting Kellen Moore. So each coordinator comes with a different system or a different scheme that you got to learn, terminology and things like that. And I'm not saying it's a short amount of time, but it's like now it's something new I got to learn. Now it's something new I got to learn from this coach. Something new I got to learn from this coach. So with that being said, going into last year, I felt like that was the biggest problem, because you lose Shane Steichen. And you get Brian Johnson in his place. But at the same time, like, and I was willing to give Brian Johnson a chance, because knowing his past, him being a previous quarterback, pretty decent quarterback. I forget who he played for, but pretty decent quarterback. At least get him on the front of that cover, that game back in the day, NCAA. So he was decent enough. But my thing is this: I don't know the personal relationship between Brian Johnson and Jalen Hurts. But last year there just was no cohesion, no consistency in the offense. Like, plays were predictable. Even myself, like, I could sit there and be like, they about to run the ball, because I see Kenny G come on or blocking, whatever the case may be. Somebody, this about to be this type of play, this about to be this type of play. It wasn't too hard. To the fact that even Christian McCaffrey on Monday Night Football sitting there saying, yeah, they're about to do this, they're about to do that. And he's another offensive player. So it was just crazy to see. So, but Emmanuel comes out and he says these things, right? But when you watch these different outlets, these different sports programs that report on the NFL, right? They always talk about Josh Allen, and we're going to get into this because y'all know how I feel about Josh. We're going to get into Josh Allen. They talk about Patrick Mahomes. They talk about the Cincinnati quarterback, whoever, right? They always put Jalen Hurts at the bottom of the list, middle bottom of the list, which I never understand either. But my thing is this. Most of the quarterbacks, right? My fault, my chair a little squeaky. Most of the quarterbacks, right, in the league couldn't hold Jalen Hurts' jockstrap. Let's just keep it a bean. Now, yes, we have a loaded team, but that's what you want to do for your team. I seen an article come out. Shout out to Savage Philly Sports. I think that's the name of the page on Facebook. But they had posted Justin Fields. Nick Foles was trying to help Justin Fields out there in Chicago to the point where Justin Fields didn't even want his. You know what I'm saying? He didn't even want his help. Like to the point where they stopped talking. Like, you understand what I'm saying? So a lot of these players come into the league with this mindset that, like, I was great in college, I'm gonna be great in the NFL, and it don't work like that at all. It's a very, very small percentage. That's why you see so many quarterbacks that weren't, and I'm not trying to be rude, but most of the quarterbacks that went in the draft this year early weren't that good. And they'll probably be drafting in another year or two, maybe 3 years, because they're going to see that they're just not as good as they thought they were, but they needed a quarterback. And that's another topic for, the draft, another topic. But my thing is this. So you sit here and you see some of these players come into the league, like, that mindset is not there yet. You think you're talented, but you haven't played against the NFL talent. It's a different landscape. Jalen Hurts has come up here and proved that he can play against NFL talent. And in the 2 to 3 years that he's been starting, what is his record? More wins than losses, if I'm not mistaken. I ain't got the right number. I'm just going off the top right now because I'm trying to make this a short video because I had just seen it and I figured I'd give y'all this content today. But my thing is, you sit here and you hear these people, like I said, name Josh Allen. And I looked up the stats. He's not too far off. But for him to be put where he is every time they make a list, or for them to talk about him the way that they do, it blows my mind. We know Patrick. I'm sorry, I'm trying to look at this computer at the same time. We know Patrick Mahomes is the most elite quarterback in the NFL, right? But when you talk about, because he is on a different level, and that's no disrespect to Jalen. I gotta call it how I gotta call it. But my thing is this: when you think about that second tier, you're not telling me Jalen Hurts is not in there. Man went to the Super Bowl, went toe to toe with Patrick Mahomes. Okay, yes, he lost, but then he goes in the Arrowhead and he does it again. When it wasn't his best game, I will say that it wasn't his best game. It could have went either way, but he got the W. The team got the W because it's a team sport. That's something else. It's like, bro, they want to put all this on Jalen Hurts. It's not just on Jalen Hurts. This is a team sport. This is one of the hardest sports collectively to get a bunch of men to understand what's going on and to do what they need to do. This is probably one of the hardest things to do. Okay? But to me, I just think it's so crazy that people just want to keep bashing Jalen Hurts like he ain't been getting better or he ain't been going through these situations with his coaches and stuff like that. You know what I mean? You don't never hear nothing bad about Jalen. You always see him working. And like he said, he know he has things that he needs to work on. Like I said, he bails out. He bails out of the he was bailing out of the pocket a lot this year. And it could be for a plethora of things, man. I couldn't tell you, but my thing is that I feel like that's something we need to work on. All these quarterbacks have something they need to work on. Footwork, whatever it is, vision, reading defense, whatever it is. I remember a story. I remember when Patrick Mahomes won his first Super Bowl or his second Super Bowl, and he was on the Shop with LeBron, that LeBron James podcast or show that he had on HBO, and he said he couldn't even read defenses all like that. He was just out there playing football and won the Super Bowl. That's crazy. You wouldn't suspect that, but that's what he said. I mean, I can only believe him. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I don't get that. I don't see how people don't see that this past year, and I really hate that they had the year that they had, because now they're really going to lay it on him, because they're like, yo, and like I said, it could be deserving, but it's not just deserving of him. It was an organization thing. From some of the players to the coordinators to the office. Like I said, we heard what Kenny G said. It was some connection pieces missing for whatever was going on. And you hear Jalen Hurts come out and talk about certain players ain't doing what they need to be doing throughout the season. But I know he's always working, bro. He's always working. He's always trying to get better. He's always trying to find a way to get better. Regardless of what people are saying on these national sports channels. It don't matter. Honestly, it's really fuel to his fire because it's like I'm trying to figure out what more y'all want him to do besides I guess win the Super Bowl. But I feel like they don't hold none of these other like they'll sit up here every year and say Josh Allen's always in the running for MVP. But then he throws a bunch of interceptions. We don't never hear nothing about that. And if we do, it's small. But when Jalen Hurts' name pops up, it's always a problem. He ain't this, he ain't that. You've been seeing it through his career. He can't win the big games. Don't try to Dak Prescott my quarterback. Okay? Like, don't try to Dak Prescott my quarterback, bro. We're not going through that, man. Like I said, we all have things we need to work on, things we need to get better at. I do agree with that. But at the same time, you're not going to sit here and tell me that Jalen Hurts is not a top-tier quarterback in this NFL at all, right? So, with that being said, we're going to move on to the next topic before I get upset. Anyway, let's move on, man. So, as y'all know, Wednesday, 8 o'clock p.m. tomorrow. I don't know. I might make a video about that, too, because I know when I first started my podcast, I had went through every team. And I might wait till maybe the after training camp, but I had went through every team and gave my thoughts about it. So, I might do that again. But the schedule equals what NFL schedules drop tomorrow at 8 o'clock p.m. And I can't wait to see what we got, man. I'm hoping this is what I'm hoping, that we don't have too many crazy games like on holidays and things like that, and then games that I feel like I think it was last year where they were just making that one week we only had like a couple of days of rest. So I hope it's a decent schedule. I know it's not the strongest schedule. I know we what was it, like the 19th strongest or something like that. I can't remember, but I do think this might play because we still got to play some hard teams. Don't get me wrong, but I do think that this will help the Eagles in the long run. They're trying to get back to the Super Bowl because they don't have the hardest schedule. Barring injury and things like that, I do think and I'm not even gonna say Super Bowl, but at least the playoffs. I do think we can at least win one or two of our playoff games and then go from there. So we'll see how it goes, man. But I know that drops tomorrow, so I thought I'd say that. I'm trying to make sure I'm not forgetting anything else. I did talk about Sean Stevens before, but they did just sign him to a 3-year deal, and it's not like people are like, oh my God, he signed him for 3 years. It's a standard deal for somebody of his caliber player coming in UDFA and things like that. So, but my thing with that is they must have seen something to the point where they think that he's good enough to keep on the roster. Now, with that being said, and I had talked about in my last video, what do they do at some of these positions? Because Vic Fangio, and I know I'm probably about to bounce around a little bit, but like Vic Fangio's base scheme is a 3-4. But then I also seen somebody say that it might be something like a mixture of a couple of different schemes just based on the players that they have. Because 3-4, you don't got 4 linebackers or 3 linebackers to effectively play that scheme. But like you need good corners, you need you need corners, you need like players that can cover very well, that are fast, that can get downhill, all that good stuff. And then your safeties. But at the corner position, we got too many good corners. And at the linebacker position, I feel like we still might need some help there, because I like Devin White, excuse me. Devin White might be the best linebacker on our team, but with that being said, he wasn't the best. He didn't really perform, you know what I'm saying, last year or these last few years. So Vic Fangio just spoke about getting him back to where he needs to be, but if they can, he's going to be good to have. Now, I'm hoping that Kobe Dean can stay healthy and take that next step, but I still feel like a veteran presence might be needed in that room, because Devin White is only 26. Like, yeah, that's young, but older in the NFL, but he's still younger. You know what I mean? And he won a Super Bowl, so don't get me wrong, but at the same time, I feel like they might need somebody there, linebacker-wise. So we'll see. Defense too. I feel like some line depth might be needed there as well. Depending on what Hall does, and I don't know who else they got there, but depending on what those guys do, I know how we adjust. But I did see some things for he played for Baltimore. I can't think of his name. Can't think of my Calais Campbell. If I'm not mistaken, was it Calais Campbell? Don't quote me on that, but I think it was Calais. And then I also seen that they were looking at the safety from the Seahawks. He played for the Jets. Oh man, what was my man's name? Can't remember it, man. Sorry, man, it's late at night. I'm trying, I'm just trying to get this out here to y'all. But yeah, man. So if y'all remember it, man, drop that name down in the comments. And if y'all like what y'all hear, man, please like, comment, and subscribe to always catch this vibe, man. You already know. We're trying to get these viewers up, these subscribers up. So, but yeah, man. So I just don't really know, but especially with the cornerback room, man, I really think and I said this before, we all keep talking about Bradbury, but what about Darius Slay? And it's not to say he a bad player, but he's 33 if I'm not mistaken. He an older player, and you go out here and you go get 2 cornerbacks, round 1 and round 2, and then you get Sean Stevens, Tyler Hall, Isaiah Rodgers. You know what I'm saying? So McPherson, there's still players on this team, you know what I mean, that are still decent. Maddox, what do you do with Maddox? Because they let him go. They let him go, and he comes back. But I still think he might be liable to get cut. I do, man. I really do. Him, maybe McPherson, a lot of them players that had injuries and stuff like that, depending on how they perform, I think some of these guys get cut. So I hope they keep a lot of them, but it's hard. I'm not saying that in a rude way, but it's just you can't keep everybody. So maybe some people move to the practice squad. Even Covey, however you say his name, he's another one, because a lot of players that they drafted have that ability to return the ball, and that's all he can do. That's why it's good to be a multifaceted player on this team, because they want you to be able to do multiple things. If you do one thing like Hassan Reddick, your number might get called, and it might not be the number that you want. You feel what I'm saying? So we'll see, man, as time go on. But I forget when the OTAs start. I should have looked that up. But I know they're probably starting soon. I think it's the end of this month, if I'm not mistaken. So I can't wait for that to start, just to see what these, especially what the older veterans look like, but then also the rookies as well. Start to hear some of these reports about, how they're performing and how they're doing in the camps. But then I also saw, and I'll probably wrap it up with this, that Jason Kelce has been around, man. And I talked about it in my last video. He's been around, and he also was in the office of Roger Goodell. I seen Philly Mike say he was in the office as they was writing the script. I said, oh boy, but nah, man. But yeah, they had asked him. Roger Goodell had asked him about, he's like, oh, you coming back? He's like, man, I wish. And to me, I'm trying to tell you, I think that bug. I really do think that bug is still itching, man. I still think he got an itch to play football, because a lot of people were saying, they're like, well, how is Jalen Hurts going to look without Jason Kelce there? And I do think Cam Jurgens can step in and be, he's not Jason Kelce, but he still is a good player, man. So it's not to say that he can't do the job, but I know Jalen Hurts would probably rather have Jason Kelce, and I know Jason Kelce would rather be out there. So yeah, man. But like I said, man, with that being said, I'm gonna wrap this up for y'all tonight, man. If you got anything else that you want me to talk about, please leave it down in the comments. I really do appreciate all the people that have been just subscribing to my channel, man. It's I just seen a little influx recently since the draft, and it really don't go unnoticed, man, for real. So I appreciate the people that comment on here. They correct me if I'm wrong. You know what I mean? It is what it is. I don't never take it no type of way, man. I just appreciate the views and the love and stuff like that. So with that being said, man, it's now from the No Cut Sports Podcast. Thank you for watching, and you already know, man, go Birds. I'ma holla at y'all.